there's a pleasure in violating rules. If you've been watching OATS Uncut and if you've been following us, you know that I am always curious about what the next generation is thinking of. And perhaps that's the reason I work more with young children, because they keep me young at heart and they keep me cool because I know what they're up to and what's the cool thing in their generation. So, with that, I welcome you back to OATS Uncut, Orator Academy Talks Uncut. And I have another young friend of mine here today, Sparsh. Welcome to OATS Uncut.
Hello.
Awesome. Sparsh, it's been a very long time. I've been asking you to come to OATS Uncut for quite some time.
Yeah,
And why have you not shown up so far?
I've been out.
And would you like to share with our audience where exactly you've been out? Because you're notorious about going to a particular place over and over again.
I've just been out traveling a few places. Like, I go to Cancun pretty often, and I go on cruises pretty often.
The good life. You're lucky. You do travel a lot. So, do you like to travel or do you just go because parents are going?
I like to travel.
You like to travel.
Yeah.
So, you've been traveling from the time that you could remember.
hmm
Is there a particular place that you think has been most exciting, or is just Cancun in general?
Probably Italy.
Italy. How
Yeah.
many times have you been there? Once?
Yeah, once.
And where in Italy did you go?
Venice and Rome.
Beautiful. So historic.
And Greece.
Oh, Greece is another country.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
in the same vacation.
Okay, so Greece is also a place that you liked a lot?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I didn't invite Sparsh to talk about his vacation, by the way, but it's just that he's so notorious about his vacations that I had to start with it. Pardon me, bear with me. The real reason that I invited Sparsh was because recently, when I was asking students to prepare for the OATS event, the live event that we had, I gave everybody a choice to come up with a topic. And the topic that you chose was what?
Why phones should be allowed in school?
Why phones should be allowed in school. Phones as in cell phones.
Yeah.
The corded phones are redundant now. We don't mean those ones.
Yeah.
So why should phones be allowed in schools? And what resonated about that topic? What was so important about that topic for you to bring up to prepare a whole speech on it?
Because I think they're starting a new law here, where in high schools they're banning phones in school.
Yeah. That is also because sometimes they find students playing with their phones and watching things on the phone. I mean, I've caught you a couple of times in class trying to do naughty, in a sense, be on YouTube while I am coaching. So I guess from a teacher's point of view, if students are going to abuse that privilege, then they're not concentrating. And if they're not concentrating, they're not going to do well. And if they're not going to do well, then as a teacher, you feel unsuccessful.
Yeah. So I think that we should allow them, because in the real world, we have phones, and we need to learn how to use them responsibly in school.
Okay. So you can learn to use them responsibly, but why in the school during the school hours? You can learn to use them responsibly before and after school, right?
Because school is the biggest part of your day. It's like work, when it's in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
And in work, you have your phone on you 24/7, and in work, you can use your phone as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should learn how to use our phones as a
So
tool.
if they say they will not allow phones in the school, are they saying that they will not let you bring phone to school, or are they not going to allow it in the classroom?
They're not going to allow it in the classroom.
That's fair. Why do you need your phone in the classroom? For what?
Or if you want to communicate in classes, like with friends or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, explain. Communicate with friends during class.
Because in work, you're also just talking to your friends on your phone in the middle of a work day.
But that's a lame argument, Sparsh. I'll tell you why. Because in school you're learning.
Mhm.
So how will you learn if you are communicating with your friends on the phone during class? At work, we are working, yes, but sometimes you need to check with somebody about something, and then you reach out to them via the phone.
But in work, your phone is also used for other things. Like in between breaks, you can use it. You can use it to plan things, like your calendar, your day. And even though in school days we already have a calendar, you can Let's say in the middle of a school day, you want to ask a friend if they're going to this club or something after school, then you can communicate
But
with
then you
them.
have the phone in your locker, right? You can always, in between classes, text your friend and say between for the first and second period, you texted your friend saying, "Hey, are you going to this club later?" And hopefully you'll see it during the course of the day and message you back,
Yeah, but why not have it in class?
because then you'll be doing while the teacher is talking. The teacher will be talking to the class, and you'll be texting your friend, "Hey, are you going to that club later?" And you'll miss what the teacher is saying.
But that's when you need to learn to pace yourself, like when you're gonna text them.
I think this is a way of them teaching you. This is the way of them teaching you so that you understand that you have the phone with you, it's in your locker. You are not going to use it in the classroom while the teacher is teaching. You will use it as soon as you step out.
But we're learning to get us prepared for the real world. In the real world, there are phones, so and we need to learn how to handle them.
I mean, there are other things that are a big part of the real world, but such as having a cafe where you sit and lounge, or I don't know, coffee shops. Would you want Starbucks in school someday also? And because that's part of the real world, and I'm having a heavy day, so I need to sit with my frappuccino, cafe latte. Uh, there's a certain profile that I guess a student maintains. You guys are lucky; at least you have a choice of phone or no phone. We didn't even have phones. So if we had to make a call, we had to go to the principal's office and request to make a call. And or if our parents had to call us, they would call the office and then ask them to convey a message to us. But that call was only limited to emergencies. So is that the only argument that you have, that it's part of the real world, so it should be?
Well, we can use it for emergencies in case that happens, but
So here's the thing. In case of emergencies, what happened recently was, I heard in some school, when there was a threat and they were going in lockdown, now students had their phones and each one is texting something different to the parents. So what is happening on the other side? Massive panic, because the students who are actually going through it, okay, they're going through the drill that they've been taught to go under the desks, etc., but they didn't know 100% as to what was happening. So they are texting these frantic messages to the parents and misinforming. So parents are then putting it out on social media, and then there's a whole mess of misinformation that was being spread in the entire community. So I remember that the police people were saying that this is a nuisance. This is a nuisance because yes, we think it's a device that can be used for such emergency cases, but misinformation is more a problem, because if you are, even if you know what's happening, and if you are sending messages to your parents, and the parents are posting it on social media, then perhaps the people who are the perpetrators, who have infiltrated the school, can know what is going on and how far things are developing, and how much in danger or not they might be. So it is a very vicious circle. So I am 50-50 on this. My understanding is that it has been abused so much, and that is why this drastic measure of just taking it away. So unfortunately, one bad fish makes it bad for the entire lake. I mean,
yeah, they take the phones away because it's easier for them to just take it away than to teach us how to use it, for the teachers to teach us.
so what do you mean, instead of teaching us how to use it?
Like, let's say we're in class and we're just scrolling on our phones instead of paying attention to the material. Then we'll see that we got a bad grade for participation or a bad grade on our test because we didn't focus, and then that's a learning experience.
Many decades ago, I was a kid too. And even though we did not have phones, I do know there's a pleasure in violating rules. There's a thrill in violating rules. So, this whole spiel about educate us how to use it may not be accurate, because the more you say, the teachers will say no, the more you, not you as in students, may do it on the sly and hide it under the desk and be scrolling and be sending messages and then looking at each other and passing knowing glances. So, and disrupt the class. So, like I said, even in my class, I have sometimes caught students just scrolling, very, very rarely, because my classes are small. I don't have 20 students at one time. So in a small class, I can exactly see and know what's going on, and I can read faces too, a bit. But I think the sweet pleasure of breaking rules will never really go away. So this whole reasoning that don't take it away, teachers, I think they've been trying to teach for a very long time where to use it and how to use it, but it may be going out of control.
But then if you take the phones away as a rule, then wouldn't they want to break the rule by having it in class? But if they just allow it in class, then they're
Good
not
point.
breaking the rule.
Good point. So if the rule is not to even bring it in class, then if you are caught with a phone in your hand or phone on you, I'm sure there are probably warnings that, I mean, are there warnings that if you're caught multiple times, it'll be taken away or something?
Yeah.
So, so I think the school administration is trying really hard, but are the cases stopping or are the cases increasing? I think the cases are increasing because students, like I said, the sweet pleasure of breaking rules.
It's increasing because more students are starting to have phones now at younger ages.
They are beginning to have phones at younger ages.
Like before, like 10 years ago, a lot of high schoolers didn't have phones until they got into junior, senior year. But now people are getting phones in
elementary school.
Yeah,
Elementary school. Fifth graders are carrying a phone now.
Yeah.
What do you think is the right age for a student to have a phone on them?
Middle school, like sixth grade.
So immediately out of elementary school.
Yeah.
I mean, I do understand the utility of it, and I do understand the usefulness of it, but I have seen how disruptive phones and distracting the phones are. And as a teacher, I think sometimes I also feel I'm not getting the student's attention, and the student is not learning from me, and their time with me is going waste. What else?
How they help research, because in school, your Chromebook can't really do much. The camera is really bad. So let's say you want to get into photography, your phone's cameras are just as good as professional cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you want to record a video for a project, your phone camera can work for that. Or if you want to record a video and you need microphones, your phone microphone won't pick up all the background noise in the classroom. And in a school Chromebook, a lot of things are also disabled, like restricted. So you can't really access all of the learning things. Even if they're not supposed to be restricted, a lot of databases are. Like, if you wanted to use ChatGPT to help with your research for some slideshow, then instead of spending hours on Google reading through web pages and everything, because in the real world, you're not going to actually be going on Google and reading out a book, a textbook.
I think that is the transformation that I think the world of education is scrambling with right now, because technology has gone so far ahead. But to your argument of taking videos, etc., I think people could probably teachers will perhaps allow phones when the videos need to be taken, but not otherwise, not all the time. Only for special reasons, I guess they may allow. Are there any other rules in school that you think are unjustifiable?
Recently, they restricted all the AIs, like ChatGPT, Copilot, and now you can't really use them.
I understand your arguments are valid. I'm not saying they're not valid, but the only thing is, I'm also being the devil's advocate, and I'm thinking from the teacher's point of view. And I know the challenges that probably they have faced. If my child is in school, I want them to have a phone with them. I want them to be reachable. But at the same time, we grew up in a time and generation and age when there were no phones, were not there were no cell phones, first of all. Like I said, phones had to be one phone in the building, a couple of phones in the building. People had to call the office to get you.
Yeah.
So, yes, we did not know everything immediately as it happened. It took time to get to us. But perhaps as a child, it was okay. You don't need to know everything immediately as it happens. It's a very back and forth argument with no right or no wrong, I guess. But I appreciate that you brought the arguments to us, and it's good to hear from you guys what you think. And I guess the school has to evaluate and assess as to how much use and abuse, what is the ratio. Well, I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and I want to hear from you. What do you think? Should phones be allowed in classrooms, in school, or they should be banned? Something that we all think about, argue over, play within our minds. I still don't know what the right answer is, but it's both. It's both, I think. So let us know in your comments, what do you think? Should the phones be banned in school or not? Thank you again for tuning into OATS Uncut, Orator Academy Talks Uncut. We shall definitely meet again.